Okay, here we are. This is day 2 of Reboot and Thrive. And for those of you who joined on Friday, you'll understand that, this is, my commitment, Wealthward Capital, Wealthward Realty, which is Regine, and she'll be joining us tomorrow. I'll tell you a little bit more about that here in a second. But we really wanted to reach out in our community and say, how can we right now, with everything that's going on with this reboot that we have going on around us, this hard reboot, systems down, we have an opportunity to rebuild things. How can we do this and thrive and really, be our best and try and lean in every single day and prepare ourselves for what's coming next? And so my name is Christopher Nelson. I am the principal and co-founder of Wealthward Capital. We help busy technology professionals build a diversified passive income portfolio. And my wife, Regine Nelson, is co-founder and principal of Wealthward Realty, which is a real estate brokerage here in Austin, Texas, that helps people buy in our area, buy investment properties, and then also she's helping technology employees relocate to the area. So that's who we are and what we're doing, Reboot and Thrive. This is our series so that we can help you thrive now. And Wealthward, we help you build wealth, live well, and make an impact. And so we're hosting this 3-week session, 3-week live session, that the first week is, the theme is build wealth. And so we want to stop for a minute and say, well, what does wealth mean to us? It can mean so many different things. And for Regine and I, it was always an abundance of resources. When we have more things than we need, that we could then, help other people, we can take care of ourselves, we can take care of our family, and that can be food and produce. Right now, we have a lot of chickens and a lot of eggs coming in, so we're trying to sell some of those. We're trying to donate some of those to people who need those. But that's an example of where we see that we're wealthy. We're wealthy when it comes to eggs. And, again, not all of this is material, right? I mean, we want to make sure that we are here and we help people invest. At the same time, we believe in people. We believe that we need to take care of each other, and building wealth can be building our network, building our community, and leading into that as well. And so these are some of the themes that we really want to share with yourselves today. And my focus is 5 strategies to build wealth now, right now, because there's no need to wait. And regardless of what it looks like outside, what's happening outside, there's opportunities for you to be building wealth now and then preparing for what comes next. Build wealth now and prepare for what comes next. And this isn't some type of a, get rich quick scheme. This is something that I've learned. And so if you go back and you look at Friday's, the intro video, you will understand that one of the reasons that I am so passionate about this, and I'm crazy passionate about personal finance, financial independence, and us being able to manage our own finances because of personal experience. And so today, as I go through these 5 strategies, I'm also going to be referring back to my 3 selves. And so my 3 selves was myself. I talked about myself in 2001 in the dot-com bubble. I walked out of school. Yay, I'm going to go work in tech. And everybody was just, making oodles of money and having, crazy benefits, crazy perks. And all of a sudden 9/11 happened. And I'd already rented an apartment, very expensive apartment in the Bay Area. And so I was, had no job. I had high rent. I did have some money in the bank. So what was my strategy to build wealth? Because I had one, and that saw me to a better position. But then in 2009, I built 2 businesses. And in 2009, I lost those 2 businesses because of the Great Recession, right? Built 2 businesses in Tucson, Arizona, 2 smoothie bars. They were cash flowing, things were going well. And these businesses went under. And then I was in a job. I didn't have the best boss in the world. I was, having some ulcers, but I had the opportunity going through this to build wealth. And I came out of it better than I did before. Went through an incredible IPO in 2012. Now here we are in 2020. Regina and I both own small businesses, and we have 3 boys, 3 acres, and 33 chickens. And that's our perspective right now. So we do have some wealth, we do have some things, but we also have 2 small businesses right now that we're feeling can be vulnerable in this time. So what are these strategies? Anyway, I wanted to give you that context, and I wanted to say that I'm sharing these personal stories, but I'm sharing these with you, and all of this is for you. I want to give you real takeaways as your Sherpa, who's been the guide through these valleys of very challenging times that people thought were impossible. People thought, people got stuck, right? And as I mentioned in Fridays, like, I had people that leaned in and said, don't get stuck, keep moving. And here's what you need to do. And so that is exactly why we're here. And so when we take a step back and we think of what are 5 strategies that you can build wealth today, you have to take a look at your portfolio and what are your assets. What do you actually have that you can invest in, that you can grow right now? And I would argue that your greatest asset that you have right now and that you will always have is you. You are your greatest asset. And if anything else that you do during this time is you need to invest in yourself. Managing through those 2 downturns that I did, where I went in and I had, crazy expenses, I had very little income. The one thing that I was able to do is I was able to network, I was able to prepare, and I was able to get ready for the job that then took me into technical consulting and helped build my career. I invested in myself, right? And so when we take a step back and we think about how can you invest in yourself today, you may be in a position where you're actually working in a good job, you're still in technology, you're working well, but this environment is constraining you, right? And so you need to think about investing in your mindset. And we're going to talk about that. All of these things, all these strategies that I'm talking about, I'm going to be bringing in speakers over the next few weeks to really tell you how. I'm giving you the what today. I'm giving you what you need to focus on. And I can give you some of what you need to do. I'm going to be spending the rest of this time and bringing in these other speakers to really tell you more in detail how you do these things. Because this isn't some overnight, again, get rich quick scheme or get healed quick scheme. We have to work together. And so mindset, physical health are very important right now. You need to be taking care of yourself. I would also say from a building wealth strategy is, are you at a point where I was in, 2001 and 2009, where I had to invest in myself, and it was very career focused. And I was saying, okay, where do I need to invest in my career? How do I need to get more training so that I can make sure that I am getting the best possible job? In 2001, I was painting houses. I was substitute teaching in school to make ends meet. And I was mostly paying this big rent bill that I had and managing some credit card debt. But I was really investing in myself, and I was continuing education from college, and I was taking whatever courses I could to help me prepare for what came next. And some of these were hard skills. Some of these were, the technology of the time, getting trained on systems and skills. Other were soft skills. Am I working on my presentation skills, leadership skills? What about productivity? How do I manage my day? Those are all key things. And so the takeaway here, investing in yourself, is to pick one of those right now. We don't know, are we in this 2 months or 3 months, 4 months, and then, we're having then some, we don't know. I don't know. I'm not going to guess on that. I could postulate and try and solve that problem, but I'm not. What I'm going to say is pick one, invest in that. This can also be, maybe you're doing well in your career and you're thinking about, okay, where do I invest? Maybe I've been overexposed in the stock market and this up and down is just killing me. I realize now we're going to be getting into a buy cycle for real estate. How do I position myself? How do I learn about what I need to know so I can acquire an asset, or so that I can be prepared to invest in some type of a syndicated private equity real estate investment? And I need to know those things. Now is the time to invest in yourself. and to understand what you need to prepare for, right? So invest in yourself. You are your greatest asset. That is strategy number one. Strategy number two is what I call a deep portfolio review. So I have been a personal DIY investor since, the mid 90s. And you could argue that, I was putting together businesses even before that as a young entrepreneur, doing all sorts of things, trying to understand how do I manage money? And now how do I get it working for me? And so as I went through those different times, 2001, 2009, and now here in 2020, what I did is I would put everything that I had, whether that was a stock portfolio, real estate, some type of a seed investment, right? We have some seed investments right now. Do I have other types of investments right now? Regina and I are invested in a restaurant, right? Which is experiencing a lot of trouble. And you list them down, and then I put next to it a risk measure. I put, is it a high risk, a medium risk, or a low risk? And right now there's a lot of high to medium. I don't have right now in my portfolio a lot of low risk because there's some things that we haven't seen before. There are some things that we consider low risk where we don't have a lot of leverage on some single family homes that we own. And those things are doing really well, but we're managing through a lot of our commercial investments right now. And you'll hear more about that at the end of the week, is how we're managing that. But I would go down, I would create a spreadsheet, and I've done this. I have a spreadsheet where I say, okay, what do I see as the risk level? Then I want to go into each of those, especially the ones that are high, and I want to understand what is happening and where may I have an opportunity to play a part. So when I look at my stock portfolio and I say, okay, wait, I'm actually invested mainly in the broad markets. I do hold some stocks. I want to understand what's going on with those businesses and understand, well, those are actually, they're going to manage themselves, right? I'm actually going to go through and I'm going to look at, maybe some of the seed investments where I can lean in and try and help, the CEOs or the people that are managing that company and say, hey, myself as an experienced technology executive, can I participate? How can I help? Or if, it's restaurants where I spend some time in restaurants, maybe I understand that now they actually just need revenue and we need to order takeout from that restaurant and try and really help them out and communicate that restaurant is still open, a little word of mouth, helping them out. So reviewing those in detail, high, medium, and low, and understanding if there's anything that I can do to contribute. I want to make sure, obviously with all the passive investments we have, in conversation with the operators, on a weekly basis, understanding what's happening, looking at the market, understanding what's happening from the government. How are we going to be able to navigate? A lot of options are coming out. This is a time right now, especially with investments, where people want to keep investments moving forward. People want to see them doing well. So there's a room for a lot of negotiation. There's room for levers to pull. So we're getting a lot of opportunity here. But it's really keeping your head in the game and understanding where you can contribute. And looking through that, I do that hard analysis and go, where am I going to be okay? And where am I creating a cut line? I'm saying, here's above the line. Here's what I see as, healthy. Here's what I see as at risk. And really getting and saying, okay, is this going to be what I'm going to lose? Because it's hard to get through these types of crises unscathed. But taking that real look and getting my head around it now, I think is important, because then if I go through and things are moving above the line and everything comes out healthy, again, I'm in a better mental state than I was before. And so then if I've gone and I've done the risk, I'm actually usually have a column in what can I do? How can I contribute? I'm also, putting when I'm touching base, how I'm touching base, with my partners, or when I'm going to look at that again. I also then start putting together, what's my strategy for post, once we get out of this, once things start getting back to normalcy, what is my strategy? There are things where I'm just holding. I know things are going to go well. I'm holding. I'm going to monitor and manage those and help get those through to the other side. And that's just a hold. And then that investment will keep moving forward. There's things like the stock market where I'm long on the stock market. I have not positioned that as something that I need now, or in the next 5 years. So that is, I'm long on that. So I realize we're going through the valley. Then there is, where am I actually going to look to invest? As I've been talking with a lot of my peers who invest in real estate, who also invest in stocks both, when you start seeing the market at a 30% discount, 35% discount, okay, investing some money in the market as it comes out of this, that may be a place to put some dollars. I still think we have to get through the next month or two to see where we're going to land on this. And then there's also, where am I going to change strategy? Where have I had an investing strategy and I may actually pivot that? And this is one of the things that, I'll talk about, especially with Regine tomorrow in active asset management, is I have a friend who was an ex-technology executive who he took his portfolio of small family homes and he snowballed them, which means that he leveraged them to pay them off. He has this small portfolio, I think it's 10, single family homes that is where he gets his paychecks from. And it's what's called snowball. And that may be a strategy going forward of saying, do we need to look at our single family home strategy a little bit differently than we have in the past? And that's change your strategy. And then you may want to look at short sell. What is something where it is not looking that healthy? I may come out the other side and say, you know what, it's actually better to take those losses, take those dollars and reinvest in something that I see as healthy or something that I see as a way to grow. And so again, two things, you get your spreadsheet, get your investments, you have your column, you assess your risk level, then you understand what you can do, if you can do anything, what you can do to help move some of those investments forward, make an impact, and then assess what is going to be your strategy for when we come out. Because this to me is one of the most important things, is analyzing, understanding, so that first and foremost, investors should always be able to look risk in the eye and understand what is happening with that investment. And is that going to go north? Is that going to go south? Because even when investments are going south, there's ways to negotiate to salvage them, but you have to be on top of it and you have to be looking it straight in the eye. And this is the way that we manage everything here at Wealthward Capital and Wealthward Realty. Is we want to be proactive. We want to be thinking about it. We want to be talking with all of our vendors to ensure that we are navigating the ship safely through these stormy waters. The third thing that you want to do, so if the first one was invest in yourself, deep portfolio review, then number 3 is stockpile cash. Now is the time. Everyone talks about it. In fact, I've heard the term dry powder so much, it drives me a little crazy when I hear about that. But at the end of the day, you want to be stockpiling your cash, and so that's for 2 main reasons. Number 1 is preparing to weather the storm, and, prepare and learning for the next buy. And so, I know that there's people out there, because I know where I was in 2001 is I didn't have a lot of money coming in. I was paying for, this big apartment, or this big apartment bill. It wasn't actually a large apartment, but I had this large bill. And so I started slow paying. I had some credit card bills. I'd taken a trip to Australia post-graduation. I was carrying that. I started slow paying that. I was rolling that over into low interest. But that was a strategy I used because I didn't want to keep paying out my cash. I wanted to manage whatever debt I had, because when you're in downturns, that is the time to aggressively get in and manage debt. And I'm going to be talking with Vineet Prasad on Wednesday of Savers Academy. He works in the Silicon Valley and he helps people manage their cash flow and get to a point where they're producing cash flow. So we'll get deeper into that conversation around income and expenses and managing debt. But stockpiling cash is very important. I think from an investment perspective, stopping your reinvestment of dividends, understanding what cash flow you're getting from investments and how that's going to be impacted, but really getting your head around that and putting things together so that you can stockpile that. The other thing that I know, again, and this is, low barrier, is I've looked through all of my technology. There's some great websites out there. Declutter, I know, is one of them. But there's a few others where you can actually go on there and you can, sell online all of your old phones, all of your old laptops, a lot of other things to just pull in cash. And maybe that's cash that's covering your run rate. But, stockpiling cash, getting rid of things you don't need. You need to look at, some of the toys that are sitting around. Do you have a boat? Do you have an RV? Do you have ATVs? Again, even if you're not getting that much money for them, having those dollars there and getting ready to invest, I think is really important. The fourth thing is, target and prioritize where you want to invest next, especially if that's new. I know that there's a lot of people that, may have had a single portion of their portfolio in one stock because that was the company they were working for. I know this as a technology employee because at one point in time, I had 95% of our net worth was in a single stock, and divesting out of that, taking time, we rode some ups and downs, and now we're on a downturn, and it can be like a gut punch. And you may be thinking, okay, I actually want to diversify coming out of, what we're in right now. And that's great. And so this is where, this is where you have the opportunity to put together your strategy to execute. And it sort of goes back to that number one of investing in yourself is, where do you want to go? Do you want to, I have a friend right now who he is saying, I really want to go into the market. I see the market's at such a discount. I've always had everything on cruise control with a lot of different financial advisors or 401k providers. And so he got set up, with an Ameritrade account, and he is studying the Motley Fool, which is something that I did to learn about, okay, how are you going to invest in individual stocks? He's also learning about, ETFs and the market. And this is where on Thursday, we're going to have John V from Agent Risk, who's going to be talking to us about how do we take care of our portfolio right now? What are some tips and tricks for our 401k, some actionable items so that we can be ready and we can, number one, do some things right now that can help us out and bolster our portfolios. And then what are some things that we can do moving forward to prepare ourselves for what comes next? And so the other thing that I wanted to comment on is, this could be the right time where you start thinking about real estate. And Regine can give you a little bit of insight into what's happening in the active market tomorrow. However, people are calling their brokers. People are getting educated right now because they see the opportunity coming out of this. There is going to be a buy opportunity. I think the old adage they talk about, Baron, Rothschild mentioned after the Battle of Waterloo, when there's blood on the streets, buy real estate, or, it's time to buy. And, as crass as that sounded, what it talks about, and I know this is talked about a lot in the investment community, especially around real estate and even stocks, is how we're getting into the dip. Now is the time to be ready and to buy. And this is part of what I'm trying to encourage you is, now is not the time to stand by and wait. It's to get smart. It's to move forward. It's to prepare yourselves for what comes next. And number 5, this right now is the time to build a community and to connect with others. Investing, I have learned the most from partnering with other people, sharing knowledge, sharing my experience, what I've learned, listening to them and their experiences. And this is the time right now to connect with others, talk with like-minded people, build your own community, get involved in another community. This is also the time I do believe that your network is your net worth. So I would encourage you to continue to develop your network now. Reach out to people. I'm here, I'm available. If you want to have a conversation on anything that I've talked about today, you can DM me, we can get a chance to connect. But this is a very important time to be building your community and connect with others, because right now people want to connect, people want to have those conversations and those phone calls, and people aren't busy. This is the opportunity to get in front of people who you've always wanted to have those conversations with, and they may not be as busy, because there are a lot of people that are stuck right now. and they don't know what to do, or they're miring in some type of self-pity or anxiety. But now is definitely not the time to do that. So I want to just recap everything very quickly and just go through with a quick lens that says, this is for you. I spent the time, I put this together, and this is what I want to share with you, because I know myself, having gone through, this is my third downturn where I was actively investing. I was, financially independent on my own, and very intentional about this, is invest in yourself. You are your greatest asset. So start with your mind, take care of your mind, your mindset, get to a good place, take care of your body, and then get some training, whether that's on, do you need to, and again, I talk a lot, this is for technology employees, entrepreneurs, what training, what hard skills do you need right now so that you can really go make an impact in your company? Or is it time to actually get those investing skills so that, you're ready to go when the market is and when we're coming out the backside of this? Do a deep portfolio review, understand where you are, generate a net worth statement. And as I mentioned, high, medium, low, what is your risk? What can you do to impact that? And then also understand and assess what's going to be your strategy for exit. Are you going to hold? Are you going to double down? Are you going to change your strategy? Or are you going to sell? Are you going to get out of that and say, you know what, that wasn't even my core. I don't know why I got on that in the first place. If you can, some people, some of these are long-term investments, right? But if you can, sell your shares to somebody else, get out. Somebody may have an appetite for that. Stockpile cash. Number 3 is stockpile cash. Do what you can right now. And again, bringing on Vineet to talk more about this on Wednesday, but stockpile your cash. Target and prioritize where you want to invest next. This is where Tuesday I have Regine coming in. She's going to be talking about how she's managing the active portfolio now, what she's doing to steer the ship through stormy waters. And she'll also tell you what it's like in the market right now. I know that she's transacting. People are calling. People are buying investment properties right now. So that is happening. And so where do you want to study? Where do you want to get smart quickly? Right now. And then build a community. Connect with others out there. Find other people, like-minded people, like myself, like Regine. You're going to meet Vineet. You're going to meet John. You're going to meet Joe Fairless. Joe Fairless, incredible guy, one of my mentors and a business partner. And he owns $900 million worth of real estate. $900 million worth of real estate. And he's doing a lot of stuff, very impactful. And he's gonna give a view from his lens as he's managing this very large portfolio through these muddy waters, stormy waters, I don't know. Anyway, this is day 2. We have the rest of this week lined up, as I mentioned, and this is Build Wealth. Following the next week, it's Live Well. We're gonna change, we're gonna pivot, because while we believe that it's important to look at your wealth, it's also really important to take care of yourself and to live well. So we're going to be looking at, physical health. We're going to be looking and talking to people of what can you do now to take care of yourself physically? How can you be actually taking care of your kids and being a homeschool teacher? How is it if you got some tips and tricks from somebody who's done some homeschooling to help out and homeschool your kids? What would it be like if you could actually talk to somebody and say, hey, here's how you plan dinners for a week. And then here's how you actually create a nice, comfortable dinner table with you and your family. We're going to bring that. So, I didn't say this at the beginning, and I guess I should have, but, if you haven't, please start watch parties. When you watch these things, we want to get the message out. And if you could, Wealthward Cap Facebook page, that's going to help tremendously, because then we're bringing more people in. And then in the following tab, you can choose to see our post first, because this 3 weeks, I want to make sure that people get a ton of value out of this to really, speak into that. Where we are right now, we could be stuck and we don't want to be stuck, and just getting some good interaction. Thank you very much. I'm Christopher Nelson with Wealthward Capital. I appreciate your time and look forward to tomorrow. Take care.